Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. The moment we were about to exchange rings at our wedding, my wife Judy suddenly announced that she needed a 5-minute break. She turned and walked away from the stage, and I saw tears welling up in her eyes. She reached out her ring finger not to me, but to a man in the audience named Mike and said, "Mike, you once told me you would propose in front of everyone, so if there's a next life, would you marry me?" Mike nodded, holding her hand gently. Then he turned to me and said, "Jimmy, even though I won't get to marry Judy in this life, I hope you'll take good care of her for me." All around us, the wedding guests started whispering. I stood there watching my bride in a deep kiss with another man. Everyone was waiting for me, the groom, to react, probably expecting a scene, but I just smiled and walked over to Mike. I took the boutonniere from my lapel and pinned it to his chest, saying, "Why wouldn't there be a chance? If you both can't let go of each other, then I'll make it happen." For the past 8 years, I had held on to the hope that once we were married and had children, Judy would eventually fully commit to our life together. But seeing her now, the woman who was supposed to promise forever with me, kissing someone else with such passion shattered that hope. No matter how hard I tried to control my emotions, my heart ached terribly. Suddenly, I felt like I couldn't hold back anymore. Because of what I said, Mike clutched his chest, breathing heavily. Judy looked at him with worry and quickly supported him, realizing he might be having a heart attack. She rushed him towards the hospital. As she left, she even cursed at me, calling me petty and cruel, saying that something that could have been resolved in 5 minutes I had blown way out of proportion. Neither of our parents could stop Judy. I was left to face the anger of everyone else. The officiant, who had the congratulatory speech ready, looked at me awkwardly. My mom was crying and hit me, demanding that I go back and bring Judy. My dad just snorted and coldly told me to handle it myself before pulling my mom away. My mother-in-law, who already didn't think much of me, criticized me coldly. She called me a bumpkin who had never seen the world and lectured me that if I wanted to marry into their family, I needed to swallow my pride and not embarrass my wife in public. For the first time in 8 years, I truly understood that my feelings might never be reciprocated. I realized that the role of son-in-law was one I no longer desired. They all left with the remaining guests, telling me to go back by myself and think about what happened. I watched as everyone disappeared, leaving me alone in the silent, empty hotel. Outside, a sudden downpour began. Once Judy's parents and everyone else had left, my parents drove up. My mom rolled down the window, seeing them all. My pent-up humiliation burst out. I hoarsely called out, "Mom!" and reached for the car door. But then I heard the lock click from inside. I stared at them, bewildered, my mom looking disappointed. "Ted scolded me. I told you before, but you didn't listen. Now listen to your mother-in-law and figure out a way to get Judy back. After all, you saved her life. No matter what, that can't be surpassed." "Mom, how could you say that?" I asked, but my mom ignored me. She closed the window and the car sped away. I watched the car's tail lights grow smaller and smaller, and my heart grew colder with each passing moment. The wedding was at a resort halfway up the mountain, and there was no phone signal to call a taxi. A kind waiter handed me an umbrella, looking at me with sympathy. After thanking him, I opened the umbrella and started walking down the mountain, my left leg aching more in the rain. The rain soaked me through, making me feel cold to the bone. Finally, I got a phone signal and countless messages popped up, all from Judy. Every word questioned why I had to make such a big deal out of things, especially after she explained that she only saw Mike as a brother. I ignored them all. Then a video came in from an unknown number. In it, Judy was holding Mike's hand as he underwent a checkup. Her lips repeatedly kissed his fingers as she tearfully begged him to be okay. It reminded me of when I got hurt saving Judy. My left leg was still recovering when I slipped in the bathroom and hit my head on the sink. Groggy and disoriented, I instinctively called her for comfort, but her response was cold, saying she wasn't a doctor, so what could she do about it? I was hospitalized for half a month, and she never came to visit. Later, I learned that on the day I fell, Mike had cut his hand while cooking. The doctor said it might scar, so Judy, feeling down, had taken out her frustration and worry on me. I chuckled to myself, thinking I had woken up to reality way too late. It had led me to this humiliating situation. While trying to hail a cab, Judy's call came in angrily. she yelled, demanding that I apologize to Mike for causing his heart issue. Struggling to keep my thin umbrella steady, I calmly said, "I'm still at the hotel." Just as the words left my mouth, thunder cracked the dark sky. "Judy," sounding concerned, asked, "It's pouring outside. They didn't take you home? I'll come get you." Mid-sentence, Mike's guilt-ridden voice interrupted, asking if I was mad because of him, stating that he should have just died abroad. Judy quickly comforted him and then channeled her anger back to me, claiming it was my fault and asking what my problem was when it was only a 5-minute thing. That snapped something inside me. Curtly, I replied, "Let's get divorced. I'm not apologizing to Mike. The mistake isn't mine, it's yours. If they can't let each other go, why come to me? She was the one who confessed, the one who wanted us together forever, and that's why I chose her so firmly. 8 years, are their feelings worth more than mine?" After hanging up, I quickly flagged down a taxi. Sitting in the cab, I got another message from Judy. "Jimmy, if you mess up, admit it. Do you really think any woman would want to be with a W? A worthless guy like you apart from me, let alone the fact you went out of your way to save me just to make me feel grateful." I stared blankly at the text. I thought today couldn't get any worse, but clearly I was wrong. I rolled down the car window, letting the cold wind hit my face. My left leg was so painful it was almost numb. With a bitter laugh, I asked the driver to take me to the hospital. I was still in my muddy groom's outfit when I entered the hospital lobby. A nurse asked if I needed help with my bad leg. I calmly told her my leg condition had flared up again. Upon hearing this, she rushed me up to the 3rd floor. The doctor frowned at me. "Your injury was severe, yet you recovered enough to get out of a wheelchair. Quite a stroke of luck. Why on earth would you neglect it like this? Getting wet and cold walking so far." Faced with his concern, I could only manage a helpless smile. Seeing this, he simply mentioned they would arrange surgery as soon as possible. Lying on the operating table, I recalled the doctor's words. Though he prioritized replacing the metal plates, he warned that if the bone damage was severe, amputation might still be a possibility. I ended up calling Judy. As soon as it connected, Mike's voice came through, apologizing. Judy quickly grabbed the phone, scoffing, "Jimmy, now you realize you're wrong, but it's too late. After what happened to Mike, unless you come and apologize to him right now, I won't forgive you." I swallowed back my words and turned to the doctor. "Please go ahead," I said. Back home, nothing seemed to have changed in the decor. It looked like Judy had been with Mike the whole time. I checked Mike's social media. He had posted quite a few updates, proud and beautiful Judy cooking out of love, drawing envy from everyone. I saved each one, then turned off my phone. After packing some things, I moved straight into a hotel. A hot bath gradually warmed my cold and stiff body. I took a few days off from work. Once I was somewhat healed, I returned to the office. My mom kept calling, asking if I had made up with Judy. I told her I wasn't going to be with Judy anymore. Her crying only stressed me out, so I just stopped picking up. Once at the office, people gave me odd looks. Colleague Lee pulled me to my desk. That's when I noticed the headlines online. He gripped my hand with surprise and envy. I always thought Mike was Judy's husband. Who knew it was Jimmy? I laughed awkwardly and skimmed the articles. Someone had captured the wedding fiasco and posted it online. It had turned into a dramatic scandal. Judy's bizarre behavior at the wedding hurt her image even more, and her company took a hit. Before, I would have hurried to help Judy out of a scandal, but now, having decided on divorce, I didn't care to get involved. When it was time to leave work, Judy was waiting at the exit, a rare occurrence. I turned to avoid her, but she quickly caught up with me and pulled me into her car. "Still mad? Can't you tell a wedding from a life?" she asked. "A divorce is childish. Is this how you behave? Running away from home? Stop being ashamed. Well, didn't you always want to try that fancy rooftop restaurant? Let's go now." After saying this, she pulled a gift box from the storage and tossed it to me. The contents spilled out. A watch that looked pricier than the wedding ring with a "you should be happy now" look. Judy said, "Mike has a weak heart. Since the ring's already on his hand, it's his now. This watch is way more expensive than a wedding ring. Don't complain anymore." I fiddled with the watch. The price tag of $999,999 was still attached. Clearly, it was a last-minute buy. Before, when I was upset, she would cook for me, patiently watch movies, comfort me, or play games the whole day to lift my spirits. Now she was just like her family, putting a price on my genuine feelings and expecting me to be thankful. I placed the watch back and shook my head. This is too expensive. Save it for Mike. I'm not being dramatic. If you and Mike care so much for each other, I'll step down as your husband. Let's find a time to finalize the divorce. We had already gotten our marriage certificate before the wedding, so now we would need divorce proceedings. I had overheard her, Mike, and some friends at a dinner party. Someone jokingly asked why the eyes was with someone as ordinary as me. She casually fed a grape to Mike, joking, "I can't say I love him, but Jimmy did spend 8 years with me and injured a leg to save me. It would be a shame not to marry him. It's just a title. It doesn't matter to her." Our marriage was some kind of charity, but for me it was all about love and sincerity. Now that I didn't love her anymore, I couldn't care less about the title. I thought by leaving them to be together she would be glad. Unexpectedly, she turned scarlet with anger and slammed the steering wheel. "Jimmy, do you even hear yourself? You've spent years pleasing my parents like a lap dog, acting like your leg hurt to remind me of your life-saving favor. Wasn't it all to be my husband? And now you're talking about letting go? How ridiculous. Just because the wedding didn't happen, we can always reschedule. And who's to blame? I agreed to marry you. It was just about fulfilling an old promise to Mike. You didn't have to throw a fit." She always accused me of faking my leg injury to make her feel guilty, but back then she was drunk, surrounded by thugs. I shielded her with my body and took a beating for her safety. She went to the hospital, stayed through rehab, and even cried, saying she wouldn't marry anyone else. She knew all this. Just after Mike got back, she regretted it and blamed everything on me. She slammed on the horn, making it blare sharply. If she had been this mad before, I would have already apologized and explained, but now I didn't even want to argue. I turned to look at the scenery outside the car. After a while, maybe because she didn't get the submissive apology she expected from me, she turned to me and called out, "Jimmy." I closed my eyes, not responding. The GPS kept updating the traffic conditions when we were 0.22 kilometers away from our destination. Her phone suddenly rang. Mike was on the line, panting, saying his heart was acting up again like he was dying or something. Honestly, I was tired of hearing it, even if he wasn't tired of saying it. Ever since he came back to the country, every significant holiday, his heart would act up. Anyone with eyes could see he was faking it, but sadly Judy couldn't. I was the first to speak up. "Just drop me off at the next intersection." Judy looked at me, startled. "You're not mad? Not insisting on going with me?" I shook my head. I used to dislike her being alone with Mike, so I'd suggest going with her to see him. Back then she'd insult me, calling me dirty and petty, and telling me to learn some decency from Mike. She furrowed her brows and her phone kept vibrating. The car soon reached the intersection. As I opened the door to get out, she grabbed my wrist, looking at me with a complicated expression. "I'll check on him and come back to take you out for dinner. Rest assured, this position is yours. Don't be mad." "I'm not mad." I dismissed her, trying to pull away. She tightened her grip. "Jimmy, you're different now. Not jealous anymore, huh? What's there to be jealous of? Mike treats you like a sister. It's normal for him to reach out to you first, isn't it?" "Go on," I smiled, prying her hand off and getting out of the car. I took a cab back to the hotel, had the buffet, and then went straight to sleep. Half asleep, Judy called to explain that Mike couldn't be left alone and she couldn't take me out for dinner, telling me not to wait for her. "I've already eaten," I mumbled. There was silence on her end. Then she gritted her teeth, asking, "Do you really have to be like this?" I mumbled a yes before hanging up and going back to sleep. It wasn't until the next day that I saw her text warning me not to play with fire. Back at the office, I finally understood what she meant. The projects I was handling had all been transferred to Mike. He was now our new team leader, always smiling as he assigned me all sorts of menial tasks. Judy would always join him for lunch, and when she saw me, her eyes were ice cold. Judy's scandals online kept escalating. She wanted me to attend a press conference on Monday to help clarify that Mike wasn't some kind of lover accusing me of interfering with her relationship with Mike when she went abroad and forcing her to marry me by pretending to be hurt. She put it nicely, saying I'd still be envied by everyone. Just endure a little bad reputation first. This storm would blow over, and Mike wouldn't be affected. She claimed all this was because of my demands during the wedding, and I should bear the consequences. Of course, I refused and blocked her. But then Judy's parents came to me, warning me that I better do as they arranged and not act recklessly just because I saved Judy's life. I gave them the same treatment, blocking them as well, and I directly quit the company. I wasn't lacking. I had quite a few companies reach out before, but now as I contacted them, they all seemed wary. I knew this was Judy's doing, forcing me to agree to the press conference, but this time I refused to give in. After another failed job application, a past client reached out. They had a new overseas operation that needed manpower, offering pay no less than what I earn now. But the job was abroad. They asked if I was interested. Since I'm an only child, I hesitated, thinking about my parents, telling them I'd consider it first. Back at the hotel, I got a call saying my mom's headaches were acting up again. I immediately took a cab home. As soon as I walked in, Judy was there too. My mom took my bag, looking completely fine. I stared at her, knowing I had been sold out by my own parents once again. At dinner, Judy sat next to me, continuously placing food on my plate. The three of them acted so harmoniously, like they were the real family. My mom kept praising Judy. Judy is really an exceptional daughter-in-law. Not only is she from a good family, but she also cares for our Jimmy. My dad, supposedly the elder, was pandering to Judy, chatting about how I was too willful at the wedding, thanking her for being so forgiving. Their subservience made all my perseverance from the past days crumble instantly. My eyes burned, gripping the juice my mom handed me tightly. Nothing really mattered after all. We'll be married soon. Even if Jimmy is wrong, I'll try to be accommodating. Just about the press conference. Judy's gaze was fixed on me with contempt and certainty of her victory. I tightened my grip, the juice spilling over, dripping onto the floor. Unable to bear it, I looked at my parents. Am I really your child? Why do you never stand firm with me when it matters? I've told you already I won't be staying with Judy anymore. Judy's brows furrowed, clearly baffled as to why I, having compromised so many times, was being so stubborn now. My mom paused her hand that was wiping the table, then tossed a juice-stained rag at my head. The sticky yellow-orange juice mixed with gray dirt dripped down my face. She smiled apologetically at Judy. It's all my fault. I didn't raise Jimmy right that he'd want a divorce over something so trivial. Then she didn't hesitate to slap me, scolding loudly. Jimmy, do you think you're still some 20-year-old? You're 30. Judy isn't even bothered by the fact you haven't achieved anything. Isn't annoyed by your antics? You should be grateful, yet you want a divorce? Do you have any manners? Seriously, how long are you going to keep whining about that little thing at the wedding? If you can't think for yourself, at least think about your parents and family. My face was burning, my head turned to the side. Judy didn't see that slap coming from Mom. She jumped up and helped me stay steady. Mom's next slap landed on Judy's shoulder. Judy winced, yet she looked at me worriedly. You okay? Let's get you to a hospital. Then she turned to my mom. Auntie, Jimmy is part of my family now. After he saved my life, mess with him again and I won't hold back. Even if you're his mom. Mom froze right there, shocked. I laughed with no humor, glaring at her with disgust. Judy, what's with the act? Isn't this what you wanted all along? Her usual superiority seemed to vanish, and she just looked lost. Jimmy, well, you really want me to take the fall for Mike, huh? Fine, I'll attend the press conference. Don't regret it later. With that, I slammed the door shut and left the house. I walked faster and faster, flagged down a cab and took off. In the rearview mirror, I noticed Judy standing at the entrance for a long time. She kept calling, but I ignored every call. Then she texted me about the press conference saying, desperate times call for desperate measures, and she'd make it up to me once it's all over. See, even she knows how unfair this is for me. As for Mike, I'm just the sacrificial lamb. Whatever. I blocked her number. Once back at the hotel, I collapsed onto the bed, throwing an arm over my eyes relentlessly. My parents called. Mom asked if I was trying to drive her crazy, said her headache was back, and threatened that if I didn't make up with Judy, she'd just let herself suffer to death. Then came the endless lecture about how they raised me and how now I'm ungrateful. I remembered how their faces changed once they found out about Judy's family background. I never understood why kids are supposed to automatically love their parents while some parents don't love their kids back. I texted back, "Your body's yours. If you want to perish in pain, I'm not stopping you." Then I ignored all her messages. I called up a client and said I was ready to work overseas. The press conference was on Wednesday, a lousy day for Judy's company to launch their new products. Always about profits for these business folks. Even now, they couldn't miss maximizing publicity. Dressed in all black, standing at the entrance, media swarmed. Mike and Judy were nearby. Judy wasted no time rushing over to lock my arm in hers. She signaled security to shield us. I tried shaking her off, but she tightened her grip. With this crowd, watch those legs. Flashes blinded me, so I let it be. Inside, journalists were more disciplined. Mike shot me a smug grin. I smirked back, hoping he could keep that up. "Mr. Jimmy, Mike just left the country, and you couldn't wait to play the lover. How low? What were you thinking? And isn't it true you orchestrated an ambush on Judy's route just to play the hero? Where'd you come up with such a plan?" Two men stood up first, throwing daggers with their words. Judy beside me, her face turning icier, snapped, "Who told you to ask these things?" I glanced at her, only 4 words in my mind. "Put on a show." It's not like she couldn't predict what would happen by having me here. Ignoring her look of confusion and regret, I spoke to the reporters. "Friends of Mike, huh? I get why you'd act like this." Their eyes flickered and one of them mumbled, "Quit slandering us." Yet they averted their gaze. Steady stare, not daring to argue. Further digging deeper, their identities couldn't stay hidden, especially with cameras rolling. Today, with Judy lingering by my side, Mike swayed a bit. Judy rushed over to support him. "You okay?" Hard acting up again. Once she left my side, I was alone on stage. I noticed her letting go reluctantly, only to be grabbed by Mike, who said he couldn't breathe. She hesitated but stuck with him. I calmly shifted my focus back. Questions flew at me, full of accusations like lover, homewrecker, and freeloader. Finally, after they'd had their fill, I stood up, picked up the mic, opened my briefcase, and flung out hundreds of photos. "Who's the real lover here? Judge for yourselves." Some photos landed at Mike's feet. One look and his handsome, gentle mask shattered. The pictures showed Mike overseas with women of various looks and outfits in bars and clubs. Studying abroad, long-distance relationships. It's all just a bunch of lies. He went abroad to run away with his first love, not for any other reason. He was looking for excitement and didn't like the idea of family or arranged marriage, so he ditched Judy. But then, after being let down and deceived, he came crawling back to Judy, wrecking my life in the process. Why should I just accept that? And Judy, she knew all about it. I found all those photos on her computer, but she didn't care because Mike meant everything to her. She would cover up the truth and let me take the blame just for him. All the whispers and stares landed on them, just like on their wedding day. Mike turned pale, clutching his chest for support against Judy. Judy looked at me, disbelief plastered on her face. I enlarged a chat screenshot on the big screen behind me. It was from the day before the wedding. Mike texted me asking who I thought Judy would choose the next day, him or me. I didn't get what he meant back then. Not until Judy left me without a second thought. I scrolled through the pictures I saved, taken every time Judy met up with Mike. He always posted photos of just the two of them from every angle, full of intimacy. I walked over and threw a heart exam report in Mike's face. "Even your heart condition is fake, Mike. You're quite the actor." He furrowed his brow, immediately looking flustered. "Jimmy, I don't know what you're talking about. I know you've always envied Judy's affection for me, but you shouldn't forge these things to frame me. What a drama king." I was done talking and said, "Whether it's true or not, someone will dig into it. After all, the reporters from major platforms here don't mess around." His face twitched, and he immediately covered his mouth, pretending to cough. Surprisingly, Judy didn't rush to his side this time. Instead, she hurried up to me. Cheating affairs, white lies. Her reputation was shot, along with the product launch. The company would surely take a huge hit. I thought she was coming to settle the score, but she clutched 2 photos tightly instead. In them, she was wrapped in a towel held by Mike. Another featured a private box where she and Mike shared a passionate kiss, eyes closed with trembling eyelashes. She grabbed my arm. Jimmy, how did you get these photos? This is not what you think. I laughed and shrugged her off. Oh really? Did someone force your head to kiss him? I always thought she could see Mike's posts too. But clearly, she had no clue. No wonder she could boldly tell me it was nothing but a minor issue at the wedding. The place was chaotic. Satisfied, I nodded, flashed a cruel smile at Judy, and raised my voice so everyone looked my way. As for myself, I switched the big screen from chat logs to the divorce papers. Starting today, Judy and I are no longer married. Judy was frozen in place, staring dumbfounded at the divorce papers on the screen. The reporters clutched the photos I threw out earlier and were snapping away at the screen. The focus of the interviews shifted entirely to Judy and Mike. Meanwhile, I pushed through the crowd and made a stylish exit. As I reached the door, I could still hear Mike yelling in fury. Judy! Trapped by the crowd and unable to catch up with me, Judy cried my name, begging me not to go to hear her out. I didn't even glance back. I had just flagged down a cab and was about to leave when Judy's parents showed up, demanding to know what I had done. I grinned brightly, just a little token of appreciation from me. The incident at the launch went viral. My parents kept calling, asking if I had lost my mind, wanting a divorce from Judy, and urging me to cooperate with the company's crisis PR. I thought they were just talking nonsense. I had finally figured it out. As an only child, I gave up too many opportunities to stay by their side. I always believed my parents couldn't be wrong, that they loved me deep down. But now I saw the truth. There really are parents who don't love their kids. They raised me but never gave me the unconditional love or protection parents should. So from now on, I'll just fulfill my financial obligations and then live freely, chasing the winds, the sea, and the mountains. This pre-crisis was massive. The company's stock hit rock bottom for days. It wasn't about feeling happy or unhappy anymore. It was about feeling liberated. I planned my departure for 2 weeks later. I even signed up for an English-speaking course. I thought with everything going on, Judy wouldn't have time to bother me. But a week later, as I was leaving my class, I spotted her waiting outside. She looked thinner, wearing the blue scarf I had hand-knit for her birthday last year. Before, I'd saved up for months to buy her clothes and bags. But then I realized what seemed precious to me was the cheapest in her closet. So last year, I saved up for 3 months and spent almost as long learning to knit a scarf, hoping she'd feel my love more. But when I gave it to her, she barely glanced at it before tossing it in the closet's farthest corner. I wanted her to try it on, but she just stared at my hands, pricked with needles, and frowned. You didn't knit this yourself, did you? Did you, Jimmy? You wouldn't do something so silly, would you? I quickly hid my hands behind my back, feeling dejected. Of course not. Seeing me eye her scarf, she deliberately adjusted it, revealing the white crane embroidery with her name. Jimmy, does it look good? I thought you threw it away ages ago. I responded blandly, turning to head back toward my current hotel. She followed me into the narrow hotel, hesitating before she spoke. You still have an injury on your leg. How can you stay here if you're out of money? I can help. I cut her off. Have you forgotten? You ruined the product launch. You ruined yourself. You ruined Mike. Jimmy, I thought it through. It wasn't your fault. If you come back with me and apologize to my parents, I promise you'll be my only husband. I almost laughed in disbelief. I had already printed the divorce papers, and she still thought I wanted to marry her. I think you missed the point. The thing is, I don't want you anymore, I said. There's no way I'm going back with you to apologize. She frowned, her eyes turning red, and moved to hug me. I stopped her with a cold stare. Jimmy, you never used to say such hurtful things to me. You're mad at me, right? I can explain. While speaking, she pulled out a stack of photos from her bag. Ignoring her, I focused on boiling water in the kettle. She followed me. This kissing picture? Mike lost a dare. There were too many people watching. I couldn't embarrass him. And this one, she continued. It was raining heavily that day. My clothes were soaked. At the hotel, he suddenly didn't feel well. I went to support him. That's why we ended up hugging. And there's this one. The water went from boiling to cold. She still had many photos in her hand, her voice getting lower, almost tearful. I looked at her. Do you want to keep talking? Clutching the photos, she closed her eyes in pain. Our families arranged a marriage. I backed out because I liked you. I turned him down when he confessed because of that, so he left the country out of spite. Jimmy, we owed him back then. But I'll keep my distance from him now. You'll understand me, right? Her words surprised me. The first time I met Judy was at a college performance. My parents were strict about money. By freshman year, they cut off all my living expenses. No matter how much I worked. I often went hungry and couldn't afford a $300 performance outfit. At my wit's end, she handed me the outfit and said, "We couldn't let one person affect the whole class." That's when I noticed her, but Mike was always around, so I kept my feelings hidden. Little did I know she liked me too. What I felt then was nothing but disgust. I smirked. Did you think I'd be touched hearing this? Please, all I feel is disgust. These are your choices. You could make things right with him in any other way, but you chose to walk all over me. We're done. I'm not going to forgive you. I pulled out the divorce certificate. She looked at me, eyes wide and full of disbelief. Impossible. We haven't even signed. 3 days after the launch, Judy's parents confronted. They called me uncultured and low class. They pulled strings to end our marriage. I guess she realized this too, as she slumped against the door. So you're not coming back, right? No. When I left, I told no one. But as I was about to board the plane, Mike came rushing at me, yelling for me to die with a knife in his hand. He screamed that I took Judy away. He asked why she wouldn't accept him even after he broke us up. I couldn't dodge in time. In a split second, a familiar figure pushed me away. The knife stabbed into Judy's abdomen. Blood drenched her light blue down jacket instantly. Airport security subdued Mike, and someone in the crowd called the police. Watching her fall, I felt calm. The boarding announcement sounded. I held the ticket in one hand while her grip tightened on my wrist. Pale-faced, she begged, "Jimmy, I'm really sorry. Please stay." Her desperate tugging made her bleed more. I had no feelings left for her, but didn't want that guilt on my conscience. I took off the scarf I had knitted for her, pressed it on her wound, and calmly dialed 911. Then I pried her fingers off one by one. "Judy, you're really annoying like this." I handed her over to the airport staff and walked away without looking back. Because of what I said, Mike struggled for breath, clutching his chest. They no longer yelled at me for being heartless, for leaving my parents behind. Instead, they begged, hoping I'd come home for the holidays. Judy's company went bankrupt apparently because Mike failed to take charge. He not only spread scandals about Judy online, but also sold company secrets to their rival. In the end, a crazed Judy dragged him off the company building roof. They both died. I was admiring a waterfall with colleagues, listening to our new charming boss gossip about the past, unmoved. With the holidays nearing back home, I replied to my parents, "Not coming." Then I posed for pictures with a colleague. I smiled for the camera for the first time in ages. I knew my new life had only just begun.